Mortal Kombat 11. Is it safe to buy? What do I mean by that? I mean, it's a video game. Relax. It's not gonna pull a gun on me or whatever. Obviously not. It'd pull a scorpion chain on me, you fake gamer. But let me explain myself. We're gonna crack this video open by saying that Mortal Kombat games are some of my favorite fighting games. The characters are hilarious, cool, and out of all the games that I played, I think Mortal Kombat has the most silly fun with their world and really doesn't take itself too serious despite the setting. NetherRealm Studios takes this obvious strength of the series and goes down that path really well in Mortal Kombat 11's story mode. As time has progressed, long-standing characters such as Liu Kang, who were once, powerhouse heroes, have gone down a darker path after the many challenges and horrors that he's faced. Meanwhile, through some fun, timey-wimey stuff, the younger versions of these characters who we originally loved are brought into the current timeline. So naturally, there's lots of humor, silly moments to match the serious comparisons and, harsh realities of what has become of themselves as they got older. Frankly, I think that sounds fantastic and a lot of fun. There's loads of dumb, stupid, and great interactions, and also reflections on how much crazy stuff has actually happened in all of the stories of the Mortal Kombat titles, and just how much our beloved characters have changed, maybe not just for the better, but actually for the worse. Then there's the combat. I mean, what do you expect from a Mortal Kombat game? Extremely polished, fleshed out fighting, rich, satisfying gameplay to match the stellar visuals, and hopefully balanced matchups between the characters? Yeah, that part's a joke. I know, I'm very funny. That's what you've got in Mortal Kombat 11. Big roster of fantastic characters, with each character having different subclasses to mix up the gameplay, and as you'd expect, there's lots of variety and therefore replayability. So why am I making a video about if this game is actually safe to buy? Right now, that might seem pointless. Well, the thing is, I can say these things about pretty much all the Mortal Kombat games, because at the core, they're the same, and that core's good. But what about all the crap that surrounds the actual game that keeps being forced in there and is simply being more problematic for the player on each new release? And it's happening again with Mortal Kombat 11, and it's worse this time, it would seem. Now, I hadn't played a Mortal Kombat game since I was younger, until I returned to the series with Mortal Kombat X, i.e. Mortal Kombat 10, the previous Mortal Kombat title. I love the game. The combat, the story, the characters, and the multiple modes of play too. It was really fun to play solo, or with friends, and also extremely tilting to play online. That last part was because I made the mistake of buying Mortal Kombat X on PC. I had frame rate issues every match without fail, despite my good hardware at the time, and trying the usual fixes. It was the widespread frame rate issues online that were making the game simply unplayable. Low frame rates during character selections is just baffling, right? But of course, you had no chance of playing the game more than a slideshow once you actually got into the fight. The Mortal Kombat X release on PC was simply a poorly done port of the console version. Horribly optimized, with players reporting save data losses, desync cutscenes, broken netcode of course, and you can head to the reviews on Steam and read the opinions of those with hundreds of hours in the game. One player says, "I played over 100 hours hoping for the day the netcode would be fixed, and they released an update finally that fixes that netcode, but it's only for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One," which is, unfortunately, very true. Console versions were undoubtedly the superior version of the game, which is in itself madness, but the netcode issues were less painful than PC, but they still received the all-important update that resolved the majority of the online play issues. The PC version, however, was abandoned by NetherRealm Studios at the start of 2016. The Mortal Kombat XL version and the DLC expansion Combat Pack 2 were only available to the console players, and at the time, community manager Tyler Lansdowne made the post stating it will only be available for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So, in plain words, no PC version ever. Now that's a big yikes, right? But what you need to be aware of is that this isn't the first time this has happened. Both Mortal Kombat 9 and also NetherRealm's Injustice had PC port versions with similar issues. And what's worst about those two examples is that just like Mortal Kombat X, both Mortal Kombat 9 and Injustice's PC ports were abandoned to their very similar issues. However, out of the blue, about 8 months after all of that, NetherRealm suddenly started a PC beta test in August of 2016 for Mortal Kombat XL update on PC, which was eventually fully released in October. So thankfully, this update did resolve the major issues, but frankly, before these fixes, you were buying an unfinished and broken game. Well, how long were you buying an unfinished and broken game? Oh, 18 months. But hey, we thought we'd never get that fixed, so it's okay, right? What's the cause of these reoccurring issues? Apparently, NetherRealm were not creating these ports themselves. They were outsourcing them to a group called High Voltage Software, shipping off the creation of the port to a third-party group, and lo and behold, creating many issues. This time, the new Mortal Kombat 11 was produced by, yes, another third-party team, but this time by a much more respectable group. It's QLOC. Claiming to have learned from their mistakes, we can hope to see this port doing better than the horrific history so far. The lead designer, Paulo Garcia, claiming to have begun work on Mortal Kombat 11's port well ahead of time, and with confidence because QLOC are the same team who created the savior update that saved Mortal Kombat X, eventually. So, given the horrible history and hopefully safe hands of the new team in charge of the PC version of Mortal Kombat 11, I'm left with mixed feelings about how this is going to go. We're in the early days of launch, and we have no idea what problems might crop up from the masses as many players dig into the new game, and perhaps this video might help you stop and think twice about buying the PC version of the game just yet. So far, my experience with the PC version is this. It runs very well so far. I've not experienced any issues with online play or frame rates. I'm reading a lot of complaints about crashes though, and I've experienced one, but after a driver update, I didn't have any more crashes. Both Josh and Dino hadn't experienced any issues, but this is just 3 people after all. They are doing this grim thing though, where they reduce frame rates down from 60 to 30 during many small cinematics, which is, well, off-putting, and it's been a while since I've seen any PC game do that. And there's also the issues with the towers. The currency you earn in them is very slow, and similar to the Crypt, which is kind of like a mobile game, you can bypass them with money. Yay, that's what I want in my full-priced game. Apparently they do aim to fix these current rates with currency, seemingly to agree that it's too slow, but hey, they chose to launch it like this. Finally, there's the in-game store, so let's take a look at that. My usual knee-jerk reaction to microtransactions, especially on a day 1 launch, is that I'm very upset that there's content in a game that I have to pay for when I've just paid for a full-price game. The shop has, as of right now, a premium shop tab, whatever that means, which currently has nothing in it, and a regular shop tab, which allows you to buy currency to purchase things whenever those are added. And we also had a shadow update during play, while I was playing, in which they added a Kano skin and an actual character, which is not good. It's Frost Sub-Zero's apprentice. Cosmetics, are one thing, but a character is a whole other. Thankfully, in this case, Frost can be unlocked by completing Chapter 4 of the story, but that isn't mentioned anywhere at this time. So it looks like, as a new player, you have to buy her if you haven't completed Chapter 4 yet. And finally, there's now a combat pack, which serves as a season pass, granting you access to characters a week earlier than a regular player, and also getting you a bunch of cosmetics. The TLDR of this is there's an in-game shop and it's day 1 microtransactions, which is not good. So there you have it. There's some positives, like the game being fantastic to play as it's a great game, and there's also tons of replayability in the new cosmetic system and level up systems, which I think is really cool. And of course, there's also much better functionality, and so far, certainly compared to the older games, a well-made port. While there is also obvious negatives like the previous titles being abandoned on PC, and of course, the day 1 in-game shop, which gives me, as you'd expect, a sour taste in my mouth. Not to mention, as I say this, the Steam reviews for the game are mostly negative, really bad in fact. Only 31% of the 700 reviews are positive at this moment, which is pretty nuts. What do you think? I mean, it's clearly a great fighting game, and if you like Mortal Kombat, it's just a good addition to the series. However, maybe the business practices so far and the history of the games might make you second guess buying it. And that's the thing, man. Gaming, there's so much good about gaming, and yet there's so much bad about the business practices around the games. And it always makes me wonder, is it the dev team, the original studio, that choose to do this, or is it the publisher forcing the dev team to put this in the game to squeeze the most money out of the players? It feels like we're never really gonna know. Anyway, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and maybe you'll come say hi to me sometime on my Twitch channel, which I stream on 5 days a week. It's linked in the description. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.